Hello, I'm EnterElysium, and welcome to Let's Play Aurora 4X. So Aurora 4X is a grand strategy kind of 4X game, so explore, exploit, expand, and exterminate space game, where you run around the galaxy and you do loads of things. It is, quite frankly, really fun. I tested it yesterday and I quickly got addicted, and then stayed up at night dreaming about terraforming planets. So, it's a game which is a bit like Dwarf Fortress in that it is kind of a horrible game to look at in some regards. I don't find it that bad because it's more abstracted, but it can be a little bit difficult, and it's very intimidating to get into. It is completely free, by the way. You can just go and download it. Yeah, go for it. I mean, you can get it straight off the internet. But it is a game with a kind of a high learning curve. Now, I'm actually trolling you right now because this is not the menu screen. This is my desktop background. If I just change it a little bit, you'll see that this is actually just a background I made for this, because the reason is it doesn't play like a normal game in one window. It actually plays in multiple windows. So, for instance, this right here is the game select or creation window. Yeah, it's interesting. So, we're going to set up a new game, and we're going to dive straight in. Now, it's definitely a game which maybe not everyone's cup of tea, but the reason I kind of fell in love with it at first play is because it's physically real in a lot of regards. Now, it does have jump drives and stuff, which are sort of a necessary evil in terms of science fiction when you get to hard sci-fi, because they kind of make things a lot easier. But it has stuff like distance traveled, etc. Instead of just being like, there are so many planets in the solar system and they're all equal steps away, or it doesn't matter how far away they are, they're all the same resource or whatever. Your planets rotate, they have distances from other planets you have to travel, and you have to terraform, and there's certain atmospheres and certain compositions and certain atmospheric pressures that people will tolerate, and certain like temperatures, and you can increase like the greenhouse gases to increase the temperature. That made me love it instantly. Yes. So we're gonna give it a go and see what the reaction is on the channel. I hope you like it. I really do. I did get a load of people pestering me saying to play the game, and I was like, well, I'll have a look at it. Yeah, okay, you were right. So, I think that's because Quill started playing it recently and everyone went crazy and then pestered me, and I was so confused for like 24 hours until someone mentioned. But anyway, we're gonna go new game. And here are all the new game options. So I'm just going to go through, by the way, as I go. I'm going to try and explain as much as possible, because this game, it needs some explaining, especially since it's so abstracted, because it's not got like a cool graphicsy, oh, look, here are your ships, and they're doing all this combat stuff. No, you need to explain as we go. So, new game name. I'm going to call this, Elysian, the Elysian Empire. Let's do the full proper name. The Elysian. It would help if I could type Empire. It's a new keyboard, that's the problem. Starting year. This doesn't matter at all. This can be any year. Effectively, this is just a start date. Nothing changes. The start is always the same. The date is just cosmetic. We're going to make it this year. If you didn't know already, on the 1st of January, I took over the planet. It was an elaborate ruse. There were hijinks involved. Put your theories as to how I did it down below. I'll be interested to read those. But yeah, the 1st of January, I took over as supreme overlord of the planet, and we've now named the entire planet, the Federation, the Imperium, as the Elysian Empire. So maximum number of systems, we're going to leave that as default, leave that as default, leave that as default, leave that as default. Basically, leaving everything as default. Empire title. Yeah, I'm nearly knocking my hot chocolate over. That would be a very bad thing to do as the leader of the Elysian Empire, because then all my control consoles get fried and no one would know what I was telling them to do. A short name. Elysium. That's okay for a short name, isn't it? We're going to Elysium. We're going to the Elysian Empire. Yeah, Elysium is actually the short name for... Well, Elysian is described something of Elysium, and the Empire is of Elysium, so... Yeah. Elysium should be fine. Species name, human. Sure. Homeworld name, Earth. Now, so tempting to rename this to Elysium, or to rename it to Terra. I will leave it as Earth just because it's physically real, and you have things like Luna, Sol, Mars, Venus, etc. It would look a bit weird to just rename Earth in that, but I would be very tempted. Player race, United Kingdom, English, yeah, sure. So this means basically, I don't know what player government type does. It changes how the government is like in the game and changes a couple of things for how it works. I'm leaving it as player race because I'm not sure what the other ones do. Main empire theme. Basically, this is the naming scheme. So it'll name ships after, say, naval vessels that are typically in the United Kingdom. So you'll get stuff like the Ark Royal, the Hood. If you set it to, say, America, you get things like the America, the George Washington, the etc. You get the Illustrious. No, the Illustrious is a UK vessel. Yeah, but anyway, it would name things after typical things of those countries. And there are also things like, I think there's a Tolkien here, there's a Terran Federation Warhammer 40k, so you could just start making stuff up. We're going to leave it as United Kingdom. I will end up renaming a lot of stuff in the game after the Patreon list. The Commander theme, I'm also going to leave as English, but I will rename maybe Commanders, it depends. Now, this is a selection between Trans-Newtonian and Conventional. This is a very big difference. Trans-Newtonian starts you off with some stuff. And you start off with a certain amount of research points, or you can start off with a certain amount of randomized text. And that allows you to go, right, I'm going to instantly research these. And effectively, it's you research these before games start, but you get to pick them, or you research random text. Random text can make it a little bit tricky to start off with, because you could have really crappy text, or that are not useful. Stuff like, I don't know, you might be missing, like, engines or something. But I'm not interested in having research points, because it won't allow me to show you at the beginning how to research things. It would just be like, oh, I select this and instantly research it. We'd lose a lot of that start game. So I will put it on conventional, which effectively means that we start as a modern day civilization with some industry, some this, that, and the other. We haven't even really gone to space, not since 73. Well, not space, but we haven't gotten to another planet since 73. I haven't gone to space, well, outside low Earth orbit since actually the same time. Yeah, because technically the ISS is low Earth orbit. I don't think anyone's been beyond low Earth orbit since the Apollo mission. So yeah, 73. So we're going to put it on conventional. That means we'll have to start everything from scratch. So we'll have like the very base technology start. Trans-Newtonian, basically that is all the elements that are key to your like faction, your empire. These special elements, which are called the Trans-Newtonian elements. They are basically allow you to kind of bend the laws of physics a little bit and stuff, like they allow you to make FTL and so on. But they also are, I imagine they're elements that are beyond the current periodic table. Even though we just added 4 more elements, yeah, I imagine they're, because I'll talk about the plateau later on, but anyway. For now, we start off as basically modern day-ish, give or take. And I'm in charge. Species tolerance. I mean, this is default. This is basically what humans can tolerate. So maximum deviation oxygen pressure. So they want, say, 20% oxygen on Earth. They would want 30% or 10%. Maximum deviation gravity, 9%. So humans can go up to about almost 2G and go down to about 0.1G before they can't really inhabit there anymore. Maximum deviation temperature. So humans can go down to about -4 and can go up to about 44. And maximum oxygen atmospheric pressure. So humans can survive in an atmosphere of up to 4 atmospheric pressures. So 4 atmospheres. This is what humans can tolerate. Now, you can do stuff like you can increase temperature, you can decrease temperature, sort of, by affecting the atmosphere. You can change the composition of stuff in the atmosphere. If the gravity is not good enough, you can't really do anything. It's not like you can just go, oh, I need to increase the gravity. Right, let's put planets together. I don't think it quite gets to that level in this game. I'm not sure. Maybe you do, but I don't think you can. I don't think you can actually just get to the point of, like, just terraforming entire solar systems, which obviously wouldn't be terraforming. It would be sol-forming? Anyway, starting population, I'm going to leave these as default. Yeah, I'm leaving this default except for no missile bases for conventional start. Now, the reason I'm going to do that is go through in a second. So we start with a population of 500 million. So apparently on the 1st of January, I kill off about 6.7 billion-ish. I think that's roughly where we're at. We're about 70.2. So I kill off a good number of people. I was thinking I was sort of a benevolent leader. Maybe not. Okay, factor that into your backstory about how I became leader, guys. We're going to leave these as default, basically, because I don't want to change them. I'm not as experienced in this game as I'd like to be able to start twiddling all the knobs and dials. No missile bases for conventional start. Basically, on conventional start, the only missile bases you will have are ICBMs. Intercontinental ballistic missiles. Great. I don't really fancy fighting other continents on Earth. I kind of want to maybe shoot to space if someone attacks me, yeah, but they don't really do that. they're sucky. Honestly, they will just be annoying and we'd have to scrap them or whatever. So I'm just going to say no missile bases for the conventional start, just because they are pointless for us. They would only be useful for bombarding ourselves with nuclear missiles, and I don't really want to do that. And to be honest, that's more of a liability than I'd like to admit. I would be more likely to bombard myself if that was enabled than actually have a situation where aliens might come, might land, and I might need to nuke them. Much more likely to hurt myself with them. So we're going to get rid of the nukes. I kill 6.7 billion people and I get rid of all the nukes. Which you see, it would seem like a coincidence that I happen to get rid of a lot of people and use up all the deadly weapons, but we also don't start off as irradiated wasteland or anything. Like, Earth doesn't start as irradiated, so I didn't use the nukes. We just got rid of them. Starting race. Generate Sol system and create starting empire on Earth. Yes. Precursors. Ancient robot-controlled ships usually found guarding alien ruins. Dangerous. So the precursors are like the ancients or the... precursors, or what's the one in Halo? What's the one in Halo? I can't remember what they're called in Halo. Whatever. The one before the people in Halo was called the precursors. The founders? I don't know. No, it wasn't. I can't remember. My Halo knowledge is failing me. But anyway, basically they're the alien races that came before us and then miraculously left. And they will have a couple of robot ships left around, and sometimes you'll find some wrecks and maybe even the odd jump gate here and there. Extragalactic invaders. Destroy the original precursor civilization during the last incursion. Extremely dangerous. You can enable this. I won't. I don't want extremely dangerous. Also don't want just a crazy intergalactic invasion to happen. No, we're going to go a little bit easy mode. Star Swarm. An alien species of living ships that reproduce in space, individually weak but troublesome in numbers. Sure, they might sound interesting. We'll probably die if they happen, because I'm a noob, but yeah, we'll have that on. Create one or more computer-controlled opponent non-player races will start in systems generated by Aurora and hidden from the game master. No. Yeah. Reason I'm doing that is because they will spawn as Transnewtonian. We're starting as conventional, so they will have plenty of time ahead of us. Then we bump into them, or they bump into us more likely, and then they murder us. Like, it just, no. No. Generate empires as non-player races. Any new races created during system generation will be computer-controlled. Manually created empires will still be accessible. I think I want that off as well. Any new races created during system generation will be computer... Yeah, I think I want that off. NPRs activate non-APR computer opponents. Ooh. No, that's during system generation. I don't want that. Generate only Transnewtonian. If checked, any new races will not be Transnewtonian races. Okay, so you can actually enable to have people generate who aren't Transnewtonian. And then they will tech up, etc. like you. I'm going to have that disabled because what I want is this. Race generation chance. Non-player races to player. So, effectively, every time I enter a new system, there is a 30% chance that that system will have a non-player race. So I will be generating non-player races. So we are playing a little bit noob mode, basically, because there aren't any enemies at the game start. And when we start exploring, then it generates enemies. And of course, those guys, well, they're not necessarily enemies, they are races. They might be friendly, but whatever. Those guys can then generate guys. So when they go through a jump gate or through a jump point to a new system, that system has a 10% chance. So we generate races at a 30% chance every time we go to a new system, and they generate a 10% chance. So we can make one race, who will make another race, who will make another. Basically, you can create a lot of races pretty quick. Optional simplifications. No overhauls. Ships will not require suffer maintenance failures and will not require overhauls. I won't enable that because I think it's important to talk about stuff like maintenance and so on, but you can do that if you want. Jump gates on all jump points. When using the option, all jump points will have jump gates, which means that jump ships are unnecessary and all ships will be able to transit all jump points. I won't enable that, but that's also something you can do to simplify things. Instead of having to have a jump engine on every single ship, you can just be like, yeah, screw it, we can just go through all the jump points. Especially considering we're starting very early on as like a conventional spacefaring, like we're trying to get to grips with basic engines. I don't really want to have like, oh, by the way, there's jump gates everywhere, because that might be a bit weird. Realistic commander promotions, sure. Inexperienced fleet, sure. Real star systems will be used in Aurora along with the commonly used name, actual star types, and orbital distances from binaries and multiple star systems. All planets and other system bodies will be randomly generated. Jump points are linked to nearby systems in real space. Basically, near Earth, you will get stuff like Centauri, so Alpha Centauri, etc. You will get Proxima Centauri. You'll get like Ross. You will get all of these basically star systems that are in effectively our local cluster. You will get, which is awesome, and we might be able to set up a colony on Alpha Centauri or whatever, or Ross 3 or whatever it's called. But that's the kind of the cool thing in this game. And I'm gonna leave same system truce on, and we're gonna be able to generate our universe. Now, one thing to bear in mind is it's got Space Master password. I don't need this. Space Master is basically like a games master, someone who would invigilate a multiplayer game, who has complete power. It is also, if you want to just jump in and just add a few text to yourself or whatever, you can do that with the Space Master ability. Basically, it's like admin power. I don't need to really use that. I'm just mentioning it's there for the sake of mentioning it's there. But I think we're ready to go. I'm just going to double check I've got everything right with non-player races, because I don't want to have screwed up here. I think I have to have them all off. Generate empires non-player races. Any new races generated during system generation? Yeah, but this is all system generation, so we should be good. So, yeah, there is one thing I need to enable, and that is generate empires as non-player races. Because it says during system generation, and I was a bit like, but it is right. It's because any new races generated during system generation will be computer controlled. There aren't any created during system generation, but afterwards, we will need to generate races. I think that needs to be on. Not certain, but it can't hurt. So that should be on to be able to generate races. Also, I do want to tick that, which is orbital motion for asteroids. Basically, that'll allow asteroids to basically orbit, otherwise they'd be fixed. Now, the reason that they're fixed by default is to save on computing resources, because it doesn't have to calculate the orbit of a few hundred asteroids for every system, because trust me, there are a lot of asteroids. There really are. There are a lot of asteroids. So this basically allows your game to be like, okay, I don't need to worry with all the crap that really doesn't matter. I can just get on. So I think we're ready. Yes, okay. I'm a little bit intimidated because this is the point where we lock it in and create game. Race generation complete. Well, that took not time at all. Why was that? Because there aren't any races at the start apart from me. And creating the universe. Now, everything outside of the Sol system is vaguely randomly generated. Now, because we've got it based on real-life stars and planets, etc., it will be based on real-life stars and planets. But because we don't know whether some of those planets are inhabitable or what resources they have, that will be randomized. So, for instance, in this game, I might not find that a certain planet that I found in a game that I played earlier is inhabitable. So, you still will have a different game. So, setup is complete, press select to enter the game. So this is back to the main menu, the Elysian Empire, blah, 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 blah. It tells us all the stuff here. Known solar systems, orbital motion. Jump gets all the jump points was off. No disaster. Ooh, you can set like sun warming and sun cooling. Ooh, oh no, don't do that. And I think we're ready, so let's go and select. And this is the game. This is Aurora. This is actually the game. Like, I'm not even kidding. This is the game right here. Everything else you see from here will be a visualization of something going on in this. This is the actual process for the game. So we don't actually need to be able to see this, really. It allows you to get into certain things, like, for instance, game. Space Master. Empires. Let's look at the system map. This is what we'll actually be looking at most of the time in our recording, however. So this is our system map. Welcome to the Sol system. So I can zoom out. There you go. Sol. A. A just means it is the first star in the system. Funnily enough, there is only one star in our system, Sol being the Latin name for sun. We may know that. You may not. It's cooler than just saying, look, sun. Because everyone can go, oh, but we've got a sun on our planet. It's like, well, is it really the sun or is it your sun? We're just going to say Sol. That way, no one gets confused. A means it's first sun. We only have one sun anyway. It's a G2V. That's the class of star. So let's zoom in, and you can see that we have a lot of stuff. For instance, Eris, which is a dwarf planet. Brooks, Russell. Those are comets, and you can see that they are currently going out of the solar system. They've got like a little tail on them, which is pointing like where they were previously. Asteroids. This is like the Kuiper Belt. We shouldn't call it the Kuiper Belt, actually. It's the Kuiper something belt? Oh my god, I can't remember the name. Basically, you know, sort of Oort cloud and stuff, Kuiper Belt. Kuiper something belt, can't remember the name. Basically like a load of asteroids out here. Basically remnants of the planetary formation. Pluto is somewhere around here on the edge as well. But the problem is Pluto isn't... There we go, Pluto. Pluto's now a dwarf planet. In fact, the game classifies it as a dwarf planet. I classify it as a binary dwarf planet because its barycenter is outside its center of mass, which is to say that the point it orbits around, its barycenter, is actually outside its center of mass because its moon is so massive that it doesn't orbit around Pluto. They orbit around a common point. Now, the common point isn't particularly far outside Pluto, but I personally would say that makes it a binary. But anyway, you can see we've got Neptune here, Uranus here, Saturn. This here is Jupiter. Oh, here's Jupiter. And then I think this is the Jupiter Lagrange points in front and behind its orbit. These must be Lagrange points. You've got a load of followers. And then we've got the asteroid belt here. The asteroid belt that we know it as. It's really the Mars-Jupiter asteroid belt. It's not the definitive article. Many solar systems will have asteroid belts, don't worry. And you've got Mars, you've got Earth. Here we go. Hello, Earth. Venus, Mercury, and some more comets going in and out. And then, of course, our star, Sol. So this is the main thing you'll be looking at. This is the most visualized you will get in the game, which is why people compare it a lot to the Dwarf Fortress. However, a space game is space. I mean, most of the time, people actually looking at space will be looking at things vaguely like this, just general, simulations of where different things will be. Whereas in something like Dwarf Fortress, you would imagine a fantasy-scape with lands and rolling hills. And I actually think that this is a bit more visualized than Dwarf Fortress, because at least you've got this, right? At least not an ASCII everywhere. But anyway, so let's have a quick look at Earth. So if we click up here, colony summary and stuff like this, I think you can get it with F2. You can see that we've got summary, Earth, human capital, 500 million people, planetary superability, which is colony cost is 0. That means it's like perfect. Administration level required. Annual wealth creation. Agriculture and environment, 5%. This means that 5% of the entire population are working to provide food for everyone else. I think it's 5 plus 5 times the colony cost. So because the colony cost is 0, it's just 5. If the colony cost was, say, 2, which I believe is on Mars, that would be 15. Service industries, manufacturing, annual growth rate, infrastructure required, etc. Then we can have a look at shipyard workers, construction workers, available workers. I've got quite a few available workers. Tectonics, Earth-like. Well, that's funny, isn't it? Geological team survey complete, because we're pretty good at looking at Earth. Military academy level 1. Deep space tracking station, strength 250. Maintenance facility, maximum size, 1,000 tons. We'll get onto that in a bit. Shipyards and slipways, we'll get onto that in a bit. Maintenance facilities, conventional industry. This is going to be a thing. Conventional industry basically means that our industry makes smartphones and apps and oil tankers. It's before we find out about these trans-Newtonian elements that are going to change the way the world works for us. Well, space, the final frontier, will no longer be a final frontier. Well, actually it will be. But anyway, it will allow us to actually revolutionize our industry. We've got research labs 5, training facilities of ground, we've got fuel available, maintenance supplies available, thermal signature, EM signature of colony. This basically means how much heat it's giving off and how much it can be seen at certain distances, and the same for EM, basically how much EM activity. So basically all the radio waves and stuff that we have, if we listen to radio these days, basically they also go off into space. And, provided you're within the light reach of them, you can just listen to radio and stuff. You will also just get random bits of static here and there, which is just because we have so much EM, electromagnetic, like just crap just going off into space. What else do we have? Production, modifier, blah, 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 100%. Right. So we've got our industry here. You can see that we have infrastructure, main facility, military academy, financial center, mining and maintenance. You can see that we've got a load of elements here. Stuff like durantium, neutronium, corbamite, trentanium, boronide, macassium, venderite, thorium, iridium, corundium, gallicite. These are your trans-Newtonian elements, and currently we're not doing anything with them. Our annual production is pretty low. We're not able to use them for anything because we haven't really discovered what they're for. But we can at least have a look at them. And you can see we've got this thing here called access and this thing here called quantity. So quantity is how much you've got. Duranium is an important one because this is like basically like better than titanium. It's basically like you make ships out of steel in the current day. In space, you make spaceships out of duranium, presumably because it's like super light and also strong. This is going to be very important to us. Most of our like actual buildings and ships will use this, especially at the start. We've got an accessibility of 1. We've got quite a big capacity. So this means that we'll be able to access every time we mine, say, every mine that pulls 30 units or whatever out of the ground, will pull 30 units. If it was, say, an accessibility of 0.5, every mine that should pull 30 units would pull 15. So the accessibility is basically like, is it easy to find? Are they in nice localized veins of it? Or is it like sporadic and disparate and mixed in with loads of other materials and deep down and you need to like mine into like the core or something? For instance, like corundium, which is going to be a bit of an issue because you need that for automated mines later on. Iridium, those are going to be a bit difficult to get hold of. But at least, you know, geranium is pretty available. Thorium is 0.8. We need that for fuel. Thorium is basically the fuel substance in this game. We should be okay for now. These are our shipyards. So we have one shipyard currently, which is type naval, with 1 slipway, so it can make like a 1 thing at a time. And it has a capacity of 1,000. That's 1,000 tons. So we can launch 1,000-ton ship maximum. And then we can do another one. And we can expand that. Shipyard tasks. I've got no tasks at the moment. Research. So I'm actually going to set the research straight away. And you've got a number of different categories that you can research in. We want to research transnewtonian technology. The starting tech for all transnewtonian technology. So this is the technology that allows you to build all the cool things we talked about and actually utilize those elements. So the way the research works in this game, you've got RP, research points, and you generate research points with research labs, as would make sense. You then have scientists. And these scientists have specialities, and they have a bonus. So if I, say, put Louise Rhodes, right? With her 25% bonus, she would increase the amount of science points, research points that we generate by 25% towards that technology. However, if we find someone who has a specialization, for instance, this is construction and production, it would be Eloise, or Elise. She's got 10%, but she has construction production as a specialty, 4 times the scientist specialization. So she would generate like 40% extra. So she would be able to like completely buff this technology, even though she's only 10%. Because she has a specialty that matches, she would generate 4 times that. So she'd be 40% bonus. They also have like a maximum amount of labs that they can like deal with, so you can allocate more than like 20 labs to her. Doesn't matter right now, we've only got 5. But we will go and make sure Elise is working with the full 5 labs we have. Create, yes. So we've now got transnewtonian technology, which will be completed in 26th of July 2019, so we're looking at about 3 years. Annual RP 1400, and your scientists can also level up. So a lot of people can level up. So stuff like they will get better bonuses, and the number of labs that they use could increase. So by using someone with a 10% bonus, I'm hoping that she'll increase because construction production is kind of an important category. I'm also very happy, by the way, we've got a pound propulsion at 25 because pound propulsion is really important as well. So that makes me happy. Although it is a bit sad that we've got 2 pound propulsion, 2 sensors. It's kind of doubling up. And we've got, you know, a number of other categories that just aren't being looked at right now. Not the worst thing in the world, especially considering we've got pound production and... construction production and pound propulsion. Those are the good ones that you need. Environment. We don't really need to talk about this. This is mostly to do with terraforming. We'll come back to that at some point. Teams and academies. That's stuff like diplomacy and so on. This is the ability to basically get civilians to do tasks for you. So, you know, basically civilians can set up their own space lines, the shipping companies, etc. And later on you can be like, I don't want to manage doing this myself. I will pay you to do it. Ground units, that's for, as you would guess. Ground forces, we've got loads of low-tech armor and low-tech infantry at the moment. Ground forces training, and wealth and trade. We can pretty much ignore that for the moment. A lot of time we're going to be spending in the industry, the mining, and the shipyard tasks. So right now, I also probably want to increase this shipyard, because an 1,000-ton spaceship is not much. So I'm going to tell you to add 5,000-ton capacity, and that'll be completed on the 1st of January 2020. 2021. So that's 5 years' time. That's fine. We're still researching trans-Newtonian technology until, 19, so might as well wait until 21 for the actual slipway to be bigger. So we're going to add 5,000 tons. We're going to add 6,000 tons, and I think that should be okay for our very first spaceship. So let's set that activity. And it's got the activity going. You see progress, blah, blah, blah. Sweet. As you can see, there's a lot to this game. We haven't even pressed, go forwards in turns yet. It is a sort of turn-based game, but I say sort of because the turns can vary in length. We'll explain when we get to that. So, industry. You can build a number of different things. I don't really want to touch that at the moment because we can't really transition our infrastructure. We do need to transition our infrastructure, so instead I'm just going to build a military academy for now, just something to keep people busy. A military academy will basically combine with our existing military academy, and it will give us a military academy level 2, because we've got level 1 at the moment. This will combine, it will give us a level 2. So I would like to create number of items 1, and I'd give 100% of our workforce to it. So there we go. So we've got 100% of our workforce working on military academy, which we completed in the 25th of May, 2018. Sweet. Okay, well, I can close this window. And now we can look at commanders. So, you can see that we have a commodore, some captains, some commanders, etc. And we also have, if I go to here, we can see civilian administrators. We've got 5 of them. And these people are people who can command, say, sectors, or battleships, or naval task forces, or even Earth. So we need an administrator for Earth. Someone who can manage the day-to-day runnings of Earth. Now, of course, I am your benevolent overlord, who somehow wiped out 6.7 billion people. That was an accident. But I need someone who can do the minimal day-to-day stuff. I don't want to have to bother myself with the finer points. So, for Governor of Earth, I can promote any of these guys except for Louise, because we have a A2, which is basically, it says, it have to be administrative rank 2 or more. Earth's too complicated for an A1. No. A2 or more. So we've got Jason Grant, Charlotte Waters, Kai Barnes, and Kian Pop. And we can have a look up here at their ratings and bonuses. So we've got a mining bonus of 15, a population growth bonus of 20. That's pretty good, but I was hoping for someone with a production bonus. Shipbuilding bonus of 5, mining bonus of 20. Good, but as I said, production bonus. Factory production bonus, 25. And a mining bonus of 20. And a shipbuilding bonus of 15. And a population growth, that's 5. That's really good. Factory bonus of 5, mining bonus of... You suck, Jason. Charlotte Waters. Wow. This is honestly the best starting person I have ever had for Governor of Earth. Shipbuilding bonus of 15%. Yeah, I would like to have my shipyards working better. Factory production bonus of 25%. Yeah, I would like my factories working at 25% bonus. Mining bonus of 20%. Since I'm only mining on Earth, I need all the mining I can get. 20% extra stuff? Yeah. And a population growth bonus of 5%. Well, I'd like to grow my population. We've kind of got another, 6.7 billion worth of people to make up. Yeah, this person is amazing. Wow. And in fact, so good, I might rename you. You shall be, and I'm drawing this off the randomized Patreon list, Craig Entwistle. Now, normally I'm not going to name the advisors and the people and all this for this, sort of the administrators, but this person is so good, they're going to be there forever. Or at least until they die. Really, please don't die. Craig Entwistle, Governor of Earth, assign. Assigned to Governor of Earth, promoted to Civilian Administrator. There we go. Civilian Administrator Craig Entwistle, Governor of Earth. Wow. That's amazing. Also, age 21, sex female, and you have all those bonuses. Nice. You awesome. I'm also going to click Automate Assignments, because that means I don't have to worry with a lot of the lower rank stuff. For instance, if we go to... is it Naval Officers? Assignment type. Let's just a quick flick through. We haven't got any, warships or anything at the moment, but I thought there were staff officers that I needed. There we go. Commander, Fleet Headquarters. So you have to be a rank 3 or above. So we're looking at our captains and our commodore. So we've got Kieran Thox, who has a survey bonus of 20%, Xenology bonus of 10%. Honestly, the survey bonus of 20% is going to be useful because we're going to start surveying the solar system soon. We've also got fleet movement rating, blah, blah, blah. Fighter combat bonus, factory production bonus. Factory production bonus wouldn't be bad. Is that Bethany Lawrence? Yeah. Sarah Sinclair, what have you got? Fighter combat bonus, fleet terraforming bonus. No. I'm thinking we go for a factory bonus of 10%, and then when we actually want to change people around, like when we're starting to do our surveying, then we could probably promote Kieran Fox to be our commander of fleet headquarters. And then we'll get the survey bonus. So I'm not certain, but I think because we are actually applying someone to an overarching role, I'm not sure if it's an counts as an overarching role, if it's directly on Earth. Gloomy person. Okay, gloomy. Ooh. I think you only get a quarter of the bonus. I know if you promote someone to be a sector governor, they only give a quarter of their bonus, but they give it to everyone in the sector. I'm not sure if that applies to the fleet headquarters, or whether that's just for Earth, or whether it's just for the entire Sol system, but we'll see. So let's promote Bethany Lawrence. And you see suddenly we've got communications, fighter ops, intelligence, logistics, operations, public affairs, survey. I'm going to automate a science there. You'll see that we've got automated a science. I do not want that to change because I cannot be able to put one into every single one of these. And you do get militia returns. They're not as important. And it'll just assign people based on your communication skill, your fighter ops skill. Like, it'll do a decent job of that. I do not need to worry about that myself. So I've promoted the people who matter. And oh my god, Craig, you are amazing. You matter. Conservatives doesn't accept change easily. No outside interests. Well, you know, we can't have everything. So I'm going to close. And then I think we should be ready to probably fast forward time. Let me check that we've got everything right. Yeah? So, time increments. Time will advance a specified amount and pause. Basically, you can fast forward time depending on whatever you want. So you can be like, right, I would like the turn to go 5 minutes. I would like to go 5 hours. There isn't actually a 5-hour button, but you get the point. The turn is basically however long you want the turn to be. Now, if you get certain things happen, the game will interrupt you and be like, dude, something happened. Or you can just say auto turn, and it will basically keep going in those increments until something happens and it goes, right, you might want to pay attention to this. Like if you finish your research, it'll be like, right, research finished, guys, and it'll pause it for you. So before we do that, I'm going to just probably get rid of asteroids temporarily. Just to clean the system up a little bit. These here, by the way, these white circles are jump point survey locations, so they're where a potential jump point could be. I'm not going to touch these. In fact, I think I made a boo-boo when I set up the game. I think I didn't change the number of jump points, because I should have changed that to 6. Oh well, it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm actually going to show jump point survey locations, change that to off. And do we have show jump points? Because we won't have any. Yeah, there we go. System bodies, jump points. So we don't have any jump points at the moment because we haven't surveyed the jump point locations. But that will basically, once we've surveyed them, this will show where the jump points are. And those jump points allow you to go to different solar systems and stuff. Basically, be like, poof, you now get to Proxima Centauri. You do need a jump drive. Or you could build a jump gate, in which case anyone can go there. And it's awesome. What else do we want? Probably toggle asteroids with colonies only. I will toggle that on. Asteroids and minerals only. Show to your survey points. Life pods, etc. Hide survey location. No. Okay. So I think we're probably good. So let's advance 5 days. Now, you see that nothing's really happened because I don't have the event log open. So if I grab the event log, you can see that commander assigned. Basically, the game's gone, oh, you want me to automatically assign all those guys? Sure. Bam. So we've got stuff like has been assigned to fleet headquarters, fighter operations, 20% bonus there. Close. Now, one thing I did want to activate is the event, show events. And there you go, you can see it on the bottom of the screen. That saves us time to bring up the event log every time. It might get a little bit busy when it's like this, but normally, if we go 5 days forwards, there shouldn't be that much happening at the moment, especially considering we're just waiting for that research and for the building and for the shipyard. And we're going to be waiting a little while until that actually happens. So we might as well go auto turn 30 day. Training experience. Fuel shortage. Okay, so it stopped the auto turn because it says, oh, we've got a fuel shortage. That doesn't actually matter. Now, it sounds a bit bad. It doesn't matter. Because what we have here is it's like, oh, we're having trouble producing fuel because all of the fuel refineries can't get, like, the thorium, the actual mineral, out of the ground fast enough. That's because we haven't got much. It's a difficult availability. But we also don't need the fuel. We have, like, 10 million liters of fuel right now. We have 1 million liters of fuel right now. We don't need it. We don't have any ships. We produce 2.5 million a year. We don't have any ships. I'm going to stop the production. We'll continue the production later, but for now, we don't need it. It has absolutely no purpose for us. So I'm going to just close that. And we're just going to continue on until we actually produce our first military academy, which should be in a couple of years. Now, at the top of the screen, you can see the date here on the tab. You can see all of the comets moving around, in and out. Some of them. Construction Military Academy completed on Earth. Excellent. Right. So we should have, if we go to Summary, Military Academy Level 2. There we go. So that will create people at a better rate and also give them better stats, I think. And it also used to staff things like your spaceships. So that should help. Basically, I did it because there's not much else to do right now. I could do a bit more infrastructure. Honestly. Maintenance supplies. No. Could build a couple of those while I wait. Or some plain boring infrastructure. What have we got? Conventional industry. How long have we got till we research? We've got 2 years. Ouch. Can I not build any research centers yet? I think I need Trans-Newtonian to be able to do that. Which is annoying. Okay. In which case, let us build just some financial centers. Cost 120. Right, just build me... How many financial centers do we have at the moment? Financial. It's here somewhere. No, screw it, don't care. Let's build 50 industry with 10%. And let us build financial center 50 with 90%. Ooh, that's actually going to take a while. So let's modify that to 20. 10. January. Sure, that'll work. Okay, close. That's a load of people being replaced because 2 years have passed. Basically, every 2 years, it checks again to see if there is anyone a bit more applicable to be switched into a role. Completion of infrastructure at Earth. Okay, in which case, I would like to go to Earth and use construction 10%. Financial centers, I would like you to switch to 100%. It says it's got amount remaining 2.19. And construction financial center completed on Earth. Oh, there really isn't anything for me to do right now with these guys. So I'm just going to let them stand idle for the moment. And a team on Earth led by Elise Leonard has completed research into Trans-Newtonian technology. Yes! And this is when we start getting all the cool stuff happening. Because you can see now we've got convert CL, which is conventional industry. It's actually CI, sorry. Conventional industry to construction factory, fighter factory, fuel refinery, mine, ordnance factory. We can do B6 tracking. We can do research labs. We can do more shipyard complexes. We can do, like, so many things right now. And we want to do all of them, which is pretty typical. We also see that this is 81.5% complete in adding its 5,000 ton capacity. And we will want to do all of this. And in addition, we will see that in research, we now have a load of cool stuff. So if we switch to propulsion and so on, you see we've got quite a lot here. We've got loads under power and propulsion. That was construction, but whatever. There's so many things now that we want to do. And hopefully, she hasn't leveled up. She's still 10%. Fine. But this is probably where we're going to leave it for this episode. So next episode, what we're looking to do is actually start the proper research, start the proper building, and hopefully we'll make our way towards designing our first spaceship to actually go out and have a look at the solar system. Which will be the first time since, what, 73? I don't know the exact one. I think it was early 70s, mid 70s, early 70s, early 70s. They didn't do many Apollo missions, so it must be early 70s. I wouldn't guess it's 73. But yeah, that will be the first time we've actually ventured into space. So, plan for the future, get some technology, switch to decent industry rather than our crappy conventional stuff, because conventional stuff does a bit of everything. Conventional industry does like a bit of mining, a bit of fuel refining, a bit of constructing, whereas if you like specialize it and you go, you do refining, you do mining, you do like building, it does a lot more. I mean, admittedly, you are then, you know, not everyone does everything, but it also is specialized, so it does a lot better at what you intend it to do. And we're going to need that, because we are planning to expand pretty fast if possible. I would like to try and get off the ground as soon as possible. But anyway, I've been EnterElysium. Hopefully you've enjoyed this first episode of Aurora 4X. I know it is very intimidating to get into, and I know I'm like a bit manically happy to be showing you it, because it's so cool. But yeah. If you liked, please remember to like. Not subscribe, please consider subscribing. Please let me know down below what you think and give me any feedback. I'm going to try and remember to add some sound, because right now, there aren't any sound effects in the game. As you might imagine, it is mostly a database-driven game. I will try and remember to put some music in the background. Probably something by Stellar Drone, maybe. Go check them out. They're great. Anyway, yeah, so let me know down below. And also, tell me what you think about my backstory for how I suddenly killed off 5.7 billion people, got rid of all the nukes, and became the benevolent overlord of Earth. And, you know, the Sol System. And the entire Elysian Empire, which will stretch amongst the galaxy. Be interested to hear. But anyway, till next time, stay shiny.